CRWS, Countering Racism White Supremacy Book Club. Like, share, subscribe, and comment below.
Oh, maybe this kid's not even freaking uh, maybe this kid doesn't even speak English because he's like foreign. Maybe they go on vacations.
Yeah.
So
Is this Dutch or yeah, German? I don't know what that is. Some
It
European language, probably some Nordic something.
it looked like it could be Dutch. Was I muted during the movie? I'm sorry, because I just
Yeah.
okay, because I was cussing and huffing. I think it's
Oh my.
got to be Dutch. I think Dutch or German.
yeah, that was. Oh man, yeah, it looks like Swedish or something, or it's something foreign, something white. This was oh, this film. Wow, this was such a. I don't
It's
know. For me
Dutch.
personally, this is a very horrific
Help
viewing.
me.
A very yeah, a horrific viewing for sure. And the dad Ben, his character is such a bitch. Like, what is
Yeah,
going
so he was
on?
very emasculated. So,
Like,
So weak.
he's supposed to
like I
be like
said,
the
I
epitome of
noticed
like
that the
white
first
men
5 minutes.
masculinity. Like, what?
I'm
You
like
know,
the boy shows more masculine. I'm like God.
yeah,
It's,
I'm like Ben, put a bullet in his head. Jesus.
But who goes back for a stuffed animal after they caught their daughter in the bed with a man who didn't have nothing but drawers on?
Ben.
white people.
No. Look, I gotta go.
Yeah, this was well, like, this is um a great example of how the system of race and white supremacy work. Just total deception, insanity, and violence
hmm
all mixed into one depiction in this film. We have Patty, who's just so much. He gives so much insight into the Yurugu. We don't know if he's a pathological liar. We don't know much about if what he said is true or not. But he did have a little monologue when he's talking about how parents ruin their children, and in the
hmm
system of white supremacy, white people, their parents, they have to teach them how to maintain the system of white supremacy, and that makes a white person a violent person, a deceptive person, and a person who is mentally and spiritually unwell because they have to help to maintain this evil, vile system. So that that's a takeaway from this film that I observed. Let me try to get to that scene. That was really early in this film. It's somewhere right here, and during this scene where he's talking about that, and it is said in the counter racist circle that white people do not care about children, which is why in this film we see Patty have no problem putting um, the child. I forgot his name already. Putting the child in like
And
yeah, and drowning him twice, almost drowning him, and chopping his tongue out. And this is a remake. This is a remake, probably a remake of a remake, but this is definitely not an original piece. It's a remake. Well, why do white people want to reproduce this story? Like, what is significant about this particular story? I think it's a message. I think they want to show um, just the masses that, hey, don't be like Ben. Be like Patty. Masculine, strong. Maintain the system. Don't be a white supremacist suspect like Ben, who's weak. Has to be saved by a white woman. The white man is supposed to save the white woman, and they're supposed to work together to maintain the system, like we saw Sierra and Patty doing in this film. Um, Anyone want to share their thoughts on what they observed from this horrific film?
it seemed like Patty was testing them. He's like, because when he said, "Why are you doing this?" Because you let us. All that boundary, pushing their boundaries, pushing. I'm a vegetarian, but she eats the duck.
But here's something I thought about immediately. A different movie, still racist suspects. Set in Louisiana is called The Skeleton Key. And the same question was asked, like, why are you doing this? And the white woman that was possessed told the other white woman she invited, um no, she told the white woman invited her over or whatever, and that woman became possessed, and she asked the possessed lady, like, why are you doing this? And she was like, because you let me in. And so for me, I think it's also telling, in a spiritual way, that Urugu spirit, that Urugu energy is looking for an invitation. It will thrive regardless, but the minute you specifically invite it toward you, aka white friends, white spouse, whatever, they're going to terrorize you to the fullest.
Hmm. They want easy prey. They want their prey to, well, not necessarily easy prey. They want their prey to be willing to be prey.
Yeah, and that's that. We could bring that right back to like us victims, subjects of the system. We definitely, as a collective, because we failed to understand and we failed to counter the system, we definitely allow them to prey upon us, prey on us. I mean, it's very tragic. It's very tragic that yeah we expose ourselves to these films, not even understanding what we're watching. We expose ourselves to white people. We allow white people to mistreat us. Allow white people to lie to us and say that they're our friends, they're our neighbors, they're our brothers and sisters. When at the end of every single day, the system of white supremacy is still in place and it's still torturing us worldwide. So it's this film just shows us how they all, work together using deception. We have Mike here, the chef, you know, maybe that other guy, that Syrian guy, that maybe white Arab guy is also, a message to how they've convinced other people who we don't understand to be white, Arabs, some Arabs or whatever, all working together to prey on the creatures and people on this planet, because animals are definitely also subjugated to the system of white supremacy. I don't know if they're treated as poorly as black people, but they are mistreated greatly. Just go ahead.
Yeah. Again, when I saw the tweet through WhatsApp, I had like immediately downloaded it through the desktop. So once when I downloaded the Discord, y'all already toward like the end, but just in the first, I say like 8 minutes, I immediately just split both families in half. I was like, okay, we got one family, two females, one male, and then I think just in that first 8 minutes, it just already pointed out that like his white woman, who was it, Ben, his white woman was on top, and then of course this other family, I had put friction for family one, which was Ben's family, and then for family two, it looked like they were together, but it felt fake. So once, and then also too, Patty was uh, doing this whole perfection thing when I saw the scene where they were dancing to Cotton Eye Joe. And then also when the boy showed the girl that little dungeon part, I was like, boom, okay, he got trophies, and he's possessive. So again, it was just certain terms that was just pointing out at me. Um, and then like anytime uh, with the first thing, which was Ben and hold on, what the hell? What's the name? Oh, Louise. It seemed like she was the one that was, giving out suggestions to like, to actually keep um Sierra and like, Aunt calm. And I'm like again, I mean, as the movie kept going, Ben just became more useless. So, but yeah, and also too, just in the first 3 minutes, alcohol was offered. So I will mute there.
You mentioned this Cotton Eye Joe song, and you said Cotton Eye Joe was popular by blackface
Yeah.
minstrels in the 19th century. The song is about a runaway slave. So,
Hmm.
very. When that song started playing, I immediately thought race. I immediately was suspect of the song. You confirmed that it is like most things, all connects to race.
Right.
Racism, white supremacy. White over non-white, especially black people. Yeah, I think this film just is a depiction of just like the disharmonious relationship between the white man and the white woman, but they have to work together to maintain a system. So even though they're in great disharmony, they have a collective goal of maintaining a system because they have to keep their control, have to keep their power. So they do what they have to do, even though in order to achieve that, there's a lot of white sacrifices, a lot of white children are thrown away and abused. A lot of white people in general are also thrown away and abused, but it's a sacrifice white people are willing to make to maintain the system. And I think this film shows that reality for sure. How shows how that comes into play. Freaking yeah, just yeah, and it's also just a message to white men to hey, step it up. We got too many bins running around. We need more refinement, more people who are willing to do what needs to be done to maintain the system. That's what I think this character is getting at. Maybe it's that time in the system where they had
Right.
to reproduce this film because, hey, too many people are not supporting Trump. Too many people are, trying to Black Lives Matter it. That's not what we're about here. We're about hunting these Negroes, hunting these non-white people, remain in control. And if we have to let the white woman do it for us, then we will. But we're gonna maintain power no matter what. It's very sick film.
White people hunt each other, but since there's more non-white people, they have an agreement to put some rules around it so they don't obliterate each other. I think that was the importance of you let us. Like Patty and Kiera's job is to get rid of the useless race soldiers.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
That's why I say let them have their white topia. I don't want to be around the niggers. Okay. But please have your white topia. And when y'all kill each other and you start bleeding out, don't ask us for no blood transfusions, nothing. Please annihilate each other.
Yeah. Again, I will have to just finish the film because again, I only had like 8 minutes of notes, and then I just watched towards the end. But
I have you on like
uh,
full volume, and it's still super hard to hear you.
oh, sorry. I said yeah, I only got 8 minutes of notes, but I think I'll add some more in the WhatsApp on just the middle portion of the actual film. Thank
Well, I think you should share them now because we are recording right now. So it would be much easier if you could share right now. So I won't have to do any extra work of editing anything into this video.
Oh no, I mean again, I already jotted down most of. what I wanted to say. Oh, and also too, it seems as though um the Patty character had some sort, I mean, some actual small army. So, even when they actually tried to escape, he still had certain people that were helping them try to, kill the actual couple. So, and like various other couples when the boy showed the girl those photos. So that was like my last like couple of notes just from watching it in like the first 8 minutes, and then the actual last say about 45 minutes of the film. I'll mute there.
Thank you, sir. And is this film also like revealing just this film and most films, if you pay attention, will reveal like just the incorrect balance on this planet. You know, white people, especially white supremacists, are just known to have incorrect relationships with their subjects and especially children. You know, it's hinted at that that Patty and Louise, like, I mean, the Patty and Sierra in my era, Patty and Sierra like have been together for at least 17 years, and it's hinted that she's very young, so it's also implied that maybe she was once a little girl, that he like killed her family and took her under and started raping her and like trauma bonded with her or something, and now she's like this, you know, bona fide killer because he like, psychologically, mentally, physically tortured her and made her into a fellow monster. Or maybe she's just, the other half of the Yugu, the feminine half that is also violent and deranged and does immense acts of evil to maintain the system. Maybe that's just her. That's just who she is. But definitely, rape was hinted at in the system of white supremacy. Anytime a white person, a non-white person is in the bedroom or it's calling themselves a boyfriend or girlfriend, that white person is raping that person mentally and spiritually and physically because there's no balance. If you want to understand that further, please go to producejustice.com and read the code book. But as long as the system of white supremacy exists, non-white people, especially black people, need to stop pretending that we have a balanced relationship, balanced sexual relationship, a balanced friendship, a balanced anything with a group of people who every single day fail and refuse to produce justice, fail to guarantee that no one is allowed to be mistreated, and the people who need help the most receive constructive help every single day. Like people refuse to achieve this, refuse to help us do this. So when we're watching these movies, we should really just try to pick out what is being revealed, what is being revealed here about the system. That's really the only reason we should be watching these movies. This wasn't even entertaining for me. This was just an uneasy film, just really messed up situation. Lots just gross, grotesque. And yeah, Tevin says only like 8 minutes of notes, and there's not much else to be said about this movie. It's not that deep or complex. It's just
I know, I
white
know.
supremacists
No,
being
it's
white
not. It's
supremacists.
just I just want to add, with the whole age gap. The actual actress who did play Sierra, she is 31, and the actual lead, which was James McAvoy, he is 47. So there's a 16-year age gap there. But I mean, based on the actual film, it's kind of already pointing that out. But yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, and that's
I
probably.
think it. Go ahead. I'm
No, I
sorry.
was just gonna say that's probably intentional. The casting, that's probably very intentional. Go ahead, Irie.
I think, like you said, the movie is trying to get signaled that there are useless race soldiers in existence, and it's a demonstration on what a useful race soldier is, where a useful race soldier resides, the type of things and what accustomed themselves to, simplistic or what they might call simplistic, minimal living, prairie style living, just like them people in the Montanas where they be having the standoffs with the FBI and you know, it definitely is some kind of clarion call to say, hey, you city white people, yeah, you're weak. You're definitely weak. Even though this is a movie about pedophilia, nonetheless, it's saying you're pathetic. You're weak. We can do whatever we want with you. We know how to manipulate you, and we know how to like we can do things that you just don't do anymore. We're brutes. And I'm glad you brought that scene up because I saw something real interesting after they went through and had their yelling ejaculation session. He goes into the house. One of the scenes right after this, he goes into the house, the guy with the plaid shirt, and starts like kissing wildly on the female. So it told me too that they require that homoerotic um enter them sessions with each other in order to get turned on to be with their women. Some of them I don't, or most of them, but I just found that interesting, like that turned him on to her.
And earlier he mentioned how like the brain is like most powerful sexual organ, so infinitely he uses that to yeah to 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 stay attracted to his wife. And also before this scene, and I think everything you said was very astute, Miss Ivy. This is definitely a clarion call. And also the people you spoke of, those are often called like mountain people. They live in the mountains. They have an arsenal of weapons. I met a ton of divers who are so-called mountain people who live in the mountains. They hate city people, beat up city people when they go up to the mountains and they don't follow their codes. Heard a ton of stories about stuff like that happening, and we see more of Ben's weakness because he can't even do what is a simple necessary act that one must do to maintain the system, which is which is to kill. He couldn't even kill the fox. He couldn't like how pathetic is a white person who can't even kill a fox, a brown creature with a gun, the great equalizer. And that just goes to show me that oh wow, they're really this is definitely like hey a message to all the like so-called liberal, all the so-called hippie white people who are so-called supposed to be like our the people who care about us, who want to help us, but are still not doing anything of value to replace the system with a sense of justice. So yeah, very fascinating, and he's American. Like this, Ben is American. This James McAvoy character, Patty, he's like uh, European or something, but he still can kill, can hunt, can deceive. And Ben can't even do that. Ben can't even lie correctly. He's coming up with these dumb lies, and there's scenes where he's lying, and his wife is looking at him like, "What are you doing? Like you can't even lie correctly. You're a bitch. You can't lie correctly. You won't stand up to this to Patty because you're just so emasculated." So sorry man. Yeah, he is a sorry man. And the term cave dwellers was mentioned. White people have not forgotten their roots. They may be actually be proud of their roots, having to live in the caves and dominate each other, rape each other. Males showing dominance by raping other males and then like clubbing each other to death and then taking their wives and their children. They've been doing this for as long as they've been on this planet probably. So the cave dwelling origins of the Yurugu white people was definitely commented on and praised by Patty. So I remember that scene as well. But what do you want else have to share? Or we can wrap it up.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Yeah, that reminds me that a bunch of jokes were made in this film, like horrific jokes. Like Patty joked about deporting him, joked about assaulting his wife multiple times, and also joked about assaulting Ant multiple times throughout the film. And some people say, a lot of people say actually that every joke has some a little bit of truth in it. And oh, actually, wait, actually, at the very beginning of the film, um, when they're talking, and Ben's like, Patty, you're terrible. And then no, yeah, Ben's like, Patty, you're terrible. And then Patty says, you don't know the half of it. So right there, right then and there, like just pay. What can this film teach us? Pay attention to what white people are telling you. Listen to the words and think. Listen and think, which is something we have been taught to be totally against. Non-white people, especially black people, are the worst thinkers and the worst listeners on planet Earth. I would say, and I could be in error. All right. Okay, yeah, that was with the babysitter. This is before they go to the dinner. I forgot it's somewhere. It's gonna be somewhere before this. Okay, so and also I don't know what if it has any significance. I just caught this. Happy Tree Friends is playing on the background, and this is a really violent and horrific cartoon show that I watched when I was really young, and I'm sure all the young people will be watching it for generations because it's a cartoon. And you think Happy Tree Friends, you don't think it's gonna be a show about animals dying horrifically every episode, but also also a way that the system conditions us to just be just violence is normal. People dying, things dying is normal. It's actually entertainment for us to watch things and see blood and guts and gore. It's cartoons as well. So that's playing in the background, and maybe this is maybe the episode where one of the characters get their tongues chopped off, possibly, which happened to Ant. But let's look for that shot. Keep looking for that shot, but just something I caught on. Let's see. Well, that's gonna be 29. You said 29. What? 35. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The system is a numbers game, so they're always trying to get more numbers, produce more white people. So I wouldn't count against that observation. I think it's a crazy find, and of course if you understand, like we learned in race code war that if you see something like bread, it could also be breed. Read, red. This language is so deceptive. The way these words are designed. So I I wouldn't knock against it. I would definitely say you're onto something. And also, earlier in this scene, her freaking shoulder strap falls down, and that's like a cliche like thing, like seductive thing that is done in movies with white women to show like their attractiveness, to get the mind to want them. And you know, white people need this genetic refresh. They know that hey, we can't just only mate with white people. We gotta mate with like white people who have a little non-white genetics in them, so we can refresh our genetics. Because if not, we'll just die out or something. So I think okay. I think the back like we could wrap up this speaking no evil decoding. Unless folks have any more final comments, we'll stop the recording again. Before I stop the recording, could you go repeat what you said about the Hart family because I didn't catch all of it, but I started the recording again. That brings to mind that to me, what we also learned in the code book, producejustice.com to get your copy of the code book, is that there's nothing good, nothing constructive comes from a white person adopting a non-white person. The, I don't think anything comes good from a white person adopting a white child. Also, because time and time again has shown us that when they adopt these children become like their little slaves, their little maids, or they adopt the children for their own benefit. They attempt to produce like some sort of like athlete, superstar, something that they can benefit from, and not actually try to give the child like a constructive, healthy, caring environment. They expect something in return for adopting children. So, white people should not be allowed to adopt non-white children, especially, but they control this planet, so they will continue to dominate and do what they will until non-white people in an effective number counter the system by just following simple 10 stops and then evolving into the 17 stops that Dr. Francisco Spelsing established. Just get a copy of the ICE papers, get a copy of the code book, do more reading. Do not watch TV unless you understand what you're watching. Especially don't watch movies. Don't go pay to see movies if you don't know what you're watching. If you're just doing this for entertainment, it's absolutely waste of time.